One of the things that I noticed early on when we moved and began to transition from summer into autumn, and now we're slowly meandering our way into that lovely season of winter. One of the things that I noticed was how people, possibly because we've all been home so much these last few months, people began to do things like decorate for fall. Certainly there were some extraordinarily elaborate Halloween decorations. I don't know who lives in that big house on Webster that created an entire, Spook Fest or Fright Fest. It was incredible. I was walking down Dickens, and there's a dragon leaning over a wall, and there are Harry Potter things everywhere. I've never seen, or I never noticed, or I never paid attention to how people begin to respond when they have the time, the creativity, when they have the initiative to do something that kind of mixes it up and kind of changes things in a different sort of way. But we are even seeing it now. There were a number of articles, there were a number of news stories about how people began to put up their Christmas lights and their Christmas trees way before Thanksgiving. And certainly we are seeing our neighborhood come alive with all of these different ways, in a sense, of bringing light into the darkness. Today, we as a church celebrate the first Sunday of Advent. The first candle on our Advent wreath was lit. It has been blessed. And we begin this season where the world starts to get darker, but we won't let the darkness win. The darkness will not have the last word. The darkness is temporary, and so we bring light into the darkness. We use this opportunity, we use this creativity, we use the natural world to, in a sense, remind us. I don't think that's me. But to remind us that darkness doesn't have the last word. The light will always have the last word. The Advent wreath, we light a different candle every week during Advent, because we also know in the next 4 weeks, the world, in our part of the world, gets darker. Before long, we will celebrate the winter solstice, the darkest night of the year, and then we move into Christmas. Christmas is on Christmas Day, not because that's the exact birthday of Jesus. We don't know. But we do know that on December 25th, in our part of the world, it's the first morning you can see with the naked eye that there is more light in the world than there was on the 24th, or the 23rd, or the 21st. Christmas is celebrated as a festival of light, and this is how we use the natural world to push back the darkness. You heard in the gospel reading this morning how Jesus encourages people to watch. So I encourage you, as we begin this season of Advent, a new church year, a new possible beginning of light, of hope, of healing, of community, I invite you to watch in 2 different ways. One of the things I noticed, in addition to all the decorations, is how I am very noticeable of people I see on the street, in the store. Partly, I want to make sure that I'm not going to get them sick, and they're not going to get me sick. So I'm definitely paying attention to who's around. But I am also noticing more people walking, more people biking, more people out there, because we notice each other when we have that opportunity. I invite you to watch the people around you. Each one of us is a hint of the light of Christ, the promise of God not to abandon us. Each one of us is unique. Each one of us is a word spoken by God into this time to somehow be a light in the darkness. In a sense, every single light, the smallest of candles, once it is lit, means there is less darkness in the world. Every one of us, if we watch for those lights in one another, we will be encouraged, we'll be challenged, and we'll be able to take the next step into the world in which we find ourselves. And the second thing I would watch for is people are paying attention to you. People know that you are a good person, made in the image of God, because of how you act, how you behave, how you continue to go forward, how you carry the light in the darkness. Allow people to see that in you and to celebrate that in you and feel hopeful because of you. One of the reasons we believe as Christians that we come together in community is each one of us in our own way, with our own framework, with our own beliefs, has something to contribute to this. Allow people to call that out of you. Jesus says many times in the gospel, "You are the light of the world." As we go through this season of darkness, we will not allow darkness to have the last word. We will light our candles, we will light up our homes, and hopefully we will light up hope in one another. Let us, this year, this Advent, let us turn the darkness into light. Let us be hope, healing, and good for one another.